The purpose of this demo is to give you a quick run through the major features of Budget Wizard. Budget Wizard was Morpher Apps' first product, released nearly 20 years ago now in the year 2000. It was available to run on R1103 and has been constantly enhanced and modified to suit new technologies as they came along for Release 11i, all versions of Release 11i, all the way through R12 to current times. The product for a long time was Morpher Apps' most popular product. It's been used by many thousands of Oracle users around the world. Small companies use it if they have complex budgeting requirements, right through to the largest Oracle projects implementation in the world, which is Network Rail. They have a £50 billion annual budget and have several hundred users of the software. So we'll start by showing you the most significant, the most advanced feature of this tool, which is the download. Now this product, because it's not built on a platform, has been built specifically for what it does, is highly customized to this particular task. So let's go through the download. I've already logged in to a 12.1.3 instance. All the options are available on the ribbon toolbar there, so we'll choose download. I'll hit clear here. Now the first thing we need to do is to choose what projects we want to download budgets or financial plans for. We have a search function here that searches for the project number and name, brings up all of these because they have that value cost plus in their number or name. Optional task search criteria there. Now that will give you a single project. If I hit clear, it enables this section here, so you can choose either the top section or the lower section here. This one here you can paste in any list of projects, whether they be in Word or Excel, and it will put them into this field with commas between them, or you can of course copy them in from text somewhere. Organization, criteria, project type, classification, or class code classification, roles such as a project manager, search function there, project status. There's a couple of special ones here: all but closed in prior years, and any particular status that you want to use, and a list of alternate functions. That is, you may put in a text value and it does a like on that for the field that you are selecting. You can put additional task criteria in here if it's one up. If you don't want a particular task, you can choose tasks that start with or contain certain values in any of these fields, and the same with resources, including descriptive flex fields. Next section here is for the selection of the plan or budget versions that you wish to download. You can choose, in this case we're doing plans, so all plan types, or you can do an individually selected plan type, or the special one here which is selected, where you can choose from a list. You can actually control click and control click again to unselect them and choose a number of them. Okay. Now watch what version within that plan type. Number of options here. You can look at a current baseline, original baseline, current draft, all drafts, all baselines, or the latest draft, which is not necessarily the current draft. Now if you choose a particular project and you choose a plan type, you are allowed, or budget type for that matter, you are allowed to click on the search button here and look at all the versions that are available. So here we have 4 baseline versions, with this being the current one, number 4, and a large number of draft versions. This project has clearly been used for testing. Our current version is the latest version there. So on one sheet, because periods are over on the right, you can only select, you can only do GL or PA periods on one particular sheet. You can't have both. Let's look at the options here. You can choose the budget, which is estimated to complete in Oracle terminology, or you can choose actuals or a combination of budget and actuals. And when you do this, you need to put a point at which actuals will stop and the budget will begin. People use this for forecasting purposes. So we'll just, if we do choose actuals, the source, you need to decide what source you're going to use. Project status inquiry is still available if you use the PSI accumulations. Project performance, you can use that instead, or this one here, the wizard will call some Oracle functionality to generate a temporary plan version which contains the actuals, and it will use that in conjunction with any budget version it finds to present the actuals data for you. Okay. Now these settings here enable you to summarize the data being downloaded. Per plan just means please download it as it was uploaded. These options here allow you to summarize the other dimensions. So if we choose this here, project level, and no resources, no time phasing, then we will get a single number for the project. These can be useful here for actuals. You may actually plan at say project level, but your actuals you can choose to drill down to top task or task level. Another one here that's popular is the show all budgetable tasks checkbox here. That enables the tool that when you download, say, task level budgets and there are tasks that are not budgeted for, this means that the tool will present those tasks in the list even though there's no values for them. That means a user wanting to modify their budget or create a new one simply has the task already there available without having to go and insert new rows. Okay. And totals is just a useful feature to create row and column totals for the download. Right, so I'm going to download the current version of the cost estimate draft plan. Here we are. Let's look at how this looks. Now this is a cost only plan version, so a lot of these columns aren't relevant. So let's go and tidy up this layout. We can delete all the revenue columns. That column is not necessary. We have descriptive flex fields. I'll just double click here, show you what that looks like. Now there aren't any descriptive flex fields defined at the version level, so these are irrelevant. Change reason is optional, description is also optional. As we can see, this version is 31. Take note of that because we'll create a new version that's going to change. Original, when we upload, this allows us, if we put a Y there, to set the new original flag. Again, it's optional. Let's have a look at the details section. Well, this column is optional as well. Let's look at descriptive flex fields before we delete these columns. We support line level descriptive flex fields as well. So we've got attribute 2 there is a global. The column is not here in the samples that we've got, so therefore we'd have to add that, and this is currently enabled, but we can choose a context and attribute 1 is available. So here we are. We can write that into a sheet, but we will delete that for the purposes of this demo. Comment is optional. This is an advanced feature, which is part of an advanced feature for revenue budgets. If you have an approved revenue budget, the requirement is that your funding must be equal to the new budget that you are trying to baseline. Otherwise, you will not be allowed to baseline, it will be rejected. So by enabling this feature here, you are able to tell the tool to automatically take money from or add money back to an agreement in order to make the the approved revenue budget baseline successfully. This column is purely in case there's multiple agreements, then you are telling the tool which agreement to get the money from. If you don't do this, either way, a form would pop up and get you to select the money when you try to upload. It will allow you to choose from multiple agreements. But that's not necessary for our purposes. We're working on a cost budget anyway. Okay. Amount is irrelevant for our purposes here because we are dealing with periods, and the currency column is optional as well. So it's a much leaner layout. Let's create a brand new budget based on these numbers here. So what we'll do, I think we'll just cheat and use Excel to create some new values here, some negatives there. We'll see if that works. Notice this number is 31. We can do a validate only if we want to. Oh, okay. What I forgot to do first was look at this. We're going to, my intention here is to create a new budget version. So I'm going to choose this option here. It's a good opportunity to go through these. When we create a new version, we have three options here. We can create a new non-current version, a new current version, and we can create a new current version and actually delete the old one in the same upload. And this is particularly popular with people who have a large number of draft versions in their system. They're not necessary and they want to get rid of them. This option here does a just a straight replace, and this can be a little bit problematic if someone has locked them. Either way, the tool has two options that you can choose, control by profile option, which allow you to unlock a draft version before and after the upload. Otherwise, Oracle leaves them locked, and that is an advanced feature that you can control by enabling this in your profile options. There are options also to edit an existing version, and we'll do that after we create this one, and we'll go through those in a minute. But for the moment, we're going to create a new current version, and the option is to reject values if they exceed the precision of the currency. Okay, so let's change that to draft, and we will upload that. So we have 72 lines. We don't have 72 lines, but we do have 72. Sorry, we don't have 72 rows, but we have 72 budget lines here. See, 72 around the bottom. Now, if we re-download that, so that was 31. That has now been changed to 32. So if we look at the download form and we research, the top number should be 32. Okay. Let's now just edit our financial plan, edit current version. There are also options here, by the way, to edit any particular version indicated by the number. And there, if you're going to edit a non-current version, such as say back to version 31, if you want to modify that one, you've downloaded it, you have an option to modify it and set it back to become the current version. Now I'm going to leave this here at edit period, but you can change the editing options here. These can be a bit complex to explain, but it's all laid out in the documentation. But you can slice and dice what you are editing with all three dimensions being the work breakdown structure, your resources, and the time phasing, which is period here. Okay, so by saying edit period, what we're doing, the tool will basically remove all values from the budget that are represented by periods on the sheet and add ones back. Okay, so it's the delete and then add any values for any periods there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just put one more year onto my budget. So that was 2015, so I'm going to make this 2016. Now the tool will ignore the other periods. They're not going to be deleted because they're no longer on the layout. So when we upload this, it will simply add the year, if you like, into the budget. Now, if we download, what's going to happen is that it will detect that the periods that it wants for some of the data aren't there, and it will add them into the layout, and it will insert them before October 16 and move the period name column across. Let's do that again. Current draft. There we are. So everything is the same up until we get to the detailed lines here, and there is the remainder of our budget that we did not modify, and the new values have all been added to the existing plan version. So that is creating a new plan version and modifying that version by adding a new year. This edit functionality can be useful for people that have very large budgets that many different people are responsible for. Also is useful for modifying the ETC values of an Oracle forecast. You cannot create an Oracle forecast from the wizard, but you can modify one, and having generated them in Oracle, people like to then modify them, and the Oracle forms are too clunky for that, so they use Budget Wizard to change the ETC periods in a forecast. So before we move too much further, I'd like to say that this tool supports budgets as well as financial plans. So all the stuff I've shown you so far, except for the header section there, is relevant to budgets. We'll just go over to budgets and double click here. The budget type form, the budget header form comes up where you select a budget type, and you select one of the predefined budget entry methods. And if resource list was enabled on here, you'd be able to choose a resource list. Okay, that's the only difference really between the plan type and a budget type, other than the fact that the currency column is not available for budgets. Okay. Right, so let's look at some of the additional functions. We have some optional columns that you can add in if you like. There's a sheet here with a whole lot of extra columns, and these are simply information only. So these ones are relevant to the project section. For the details section, you can have a lot of task information that is presented on the sheet when you do a download or you run a form. It will just simply populate this and can be useful if you want to use those columns. People have asked for these over time. If you're using budget types and you're downloading actuals from PSI, then this information can also come down. Let's look at the toolbar. When I uploaded before, I uploaded using this option here directly. We can use the concurrent manager, which enables you to manage the workload better if you're doing uploads of multiple versions. Period header columns, okay. Here is if you are using non-period budgeting, then you're just using the dates on the project, then you have the option of changing the way you use the layout. So the default way here, which is amount types in separate rows, this is an amount type here, quantity, raw cost, burden cost, and revenue. You need to put these on separate rows. If you are using non-period phase budgeting, then you can choose this option here, and that will disable this column, and you will now use these columns. These allow you to basically say that you're using raw cost and quantity on the same row, and not have to indicate which type you are uploading. This means you can have all the values for a task and resource combination on a single row. On the setup toolbar here, you have an option to modify the predefined template. So over here it starts with TMPLT. If you want, you can remove columns that you do not want on the sheet. You can write your own notes, instructions. You can move columns around, and then once you've finished, you put it away again and you hide it. Okay. And another option, this means you can override various lists of values. All these here will, when the tool searches for these lists, it will use these objects here. you are able to write a subquery here, which is for example to select star from, and tasks, you usually use the same one, and you can put in your conditions, whatever they may be, and that would restrict the options that the user can see. And when you save this workbook, these settings are saved in the workbook, and you can give various different workbooks to different people depending on what you want them to do. For example, you could give somebody projects from A to M, and another user projects from L to Z by using an override here. Okay. And that is all I wish to show you today on this demo. Thank you very much.